Hi there, this is one of the coaches from My Online Golf Coach speaking. Just reviewing your swing, I thought I'd drop you this video just to help you out with your golf. Firstly, the body over rotates in the move away, so we could do with just getting a little bit more resistance down through the lower body, a little bit stronger in the lower body and more against the ground, which will stop the body turning so early. The knees, the right hip, the torso and the chest open very quickly away from the ball, and you can see I've got Rory McIlroy as an example on the right hand side of the screen, where he's going to be a lot stronger through his lower body, which will then hold the right side more in place, which will help him get the club head more down the line away from the ball rather than sweeping in inside the line of the ball. So as you keep turning, if I stop you in similar positions where the club head is just under hand height, you can just see how much hip turn you've got at this stage and how much of the chest is facing the camera, which is far too much for such an early part of the backswing. So if we can build in some resistance through the lower body to keep that right knee and the right hip in place, it will slow your turn down, and therefore it will help you get the club more up and in front of you in the backswing. So if you stop it at that halfway back position where the left arm's parallel to the ground, you can see a couple of things here. Firstly, again, Rory's turned his hips a lot less than you, and the other obvious things there are the hands are a lot less across your body at this stage. Excuse me. So the hands are much more across. Rory's hands are much more in the middle of his chest at this stage, and the deeper your hands and arms get on the way back, the quicker you're going to turn that body. So we need to try and keep that body a little quieter, a little stronger in the right side, which will get the club, the hands and the arms just a little bit more up and in front of you in the backswing, which will then slow the turn down in the upper body. But with the lack of resistance in the body rotation, you just keep turning and turning and turning and turning and turning, and that's a big turn and a big backswing. If we have a look at Rory at the top, he's going to hold a lot more resistance down through his legs and his middle, which will then reduce the amount of turn he can get in his upper body. It's a much tighter, more resisted style backswing. So as you've got so much turn there, it's going to be very difficult for you to get back out the way of that. So as you start the downswing now, you make a really good attempt to get the body going, and transitionally, I'm sure there's a good move in there. But it's so overturned here, as you try and climb out the way of it, basically you just get stuck underneath it here, which will give you that in to out swing path and the lack of quality on the strikes. You won't be able to compress it against the ground properly from there. And just having a brutal swing from this side, you can just see how quickly that right hip and right leg just gives way and turns behind you. And the halfway back stage here, where the left arm's parallel to the ground, you can see that you've pretty much finished your chest and shoulder turn. You've got at least 45 degrees in the hips already, and again, we really need to quieten those down. But because there's a lack of resistance in the lower body, that's what's allowing you to turn so much. So if you had a wider knee position, which would then reduce the amount of hip turn, that would then reduce the amount of chest and shoulder turn you can get, which then in turn would shorten the arm swing and really resynchronize your whole swing. And then from there, from a more resisted position, again, you'll have less turn to get rid of. So as you start to work it down, you'll be able to turn over and compress it against the ground rather than have to climb out the way of it with the hips sliding, and therefore it gets you to underneath and hitting the ball actually from underneath on an in-to-out path, but really picking it up and off of the ground because you can't actually compress it downwards and against the ground. So just a little bit of a brief analysis of your golf swing there. Work on the resistance in the pivot motion, reduce the amount of turn you've got, then you'll be able to get the club more in front of you coming down and hold that ball against the ground with the club face. Hope that helps.